with that groove, all you got to do is move. Dance with that groove, all you got to do is move. Dance with that groove, all you got to do is move. Dance with that groove, all you got to do is move. Dance with that groove, all you got to do is move.
Hey guys, give me a second and should be able to share my screen right now. Let me rotate this. For tonight's streaming, I'm gonna be doing something different. I'm gonna be sculpting starting from a 3D scan I did a couple of around a year ago. Let me rotate this so it's actually facing to the front. So this is the mesh I'm gonna be working on, and just give me a second. Hey, AMS kid, how are you doing? Okay, and let me finish sharing this. So for those of you who are new to my streaming, I tend to do it both in English and Spanish, so bear with me if I change the language at any point. And first of all, I'm gonna get rid of everything else beside the fish. Give me a second. So this is Saki Hoko. It's sea monster from Japanese folklore. It's supposed to be like a fish with the head of a dragon or a tiger in some other references. Um, it's like a talisman that gives protection to buildings, especially against fires. So right now the mesh is it's quite heavy because I currently have like a ton of geo that I don't need. Hey, awesome, Edward Droid, ¿cómo estás, bro? Qué gusto verte por acá. Currently 12 a.m. over here. What kind of creature will it be? It's gonna be like I'm gonna use as a base this, which is this mythological creature from Japan that is half tiger, dragon slash fish. But although I'm gonna be using this as a base, I just want to start adding like some creepy, realistic vibe to it. So that's the idea for tonight. Y la idea justamente de ese streaming es que voy a estar empezando a partir de un scan 3D que hice de una escultura en Japón. Este monstruo o esta criatura mitológica es un... Estoy seguro que lo voy a decir mal, pero es un Sakihoko. Y es un pez que es mitad dragón, mitad pez, o unos dicen que es cabeza de tigre, cuerpo de pez. Encontré como diferentes fuentes al respecto. Pero la idea es que protege los edificios en contra de fuegos, principalmente, porque cuando hay un incendio se supone que lanza agua a partir de su boca. Lo hice a partir de fotogrammetría, entonces si pueden ver, toda esta parte es lo que llegué a escanear y la parte de atrás no, entonces por eso no tenemos nada de información en la parte de atrás. Y lo primero que voy a hacer es borrar todo lo que no necesitamos, es decir, todo el fondo, las plantas, la pared, cosas que no van relevantes a este modelo. Y ahora lo que voy a hacer es rotarlo. So since I already get rid of like the plants and the wall, I'm gonna make this symmetrical. That's the next step because I captured this using just photos. So I don't have any photos from the back of the creature, well, the sculpture. Um, so I'm just gonna do a mirror on weld, but I already saw something that I need to get rid of, which is this geo, like that, and maybe like this. It's gonna be a lot of trial and error, like seeing if it looks good, and it looks good on the first try, so I think I'm gonna keep this one. The only issue is on the tail, but I don't think it's a big issue. Actually, I'm gonna do something about it because if you see it from the side, it's not matching with the scales from the back, the dorsal scales. So I'm gonna move this a bit more. Lo que quiero hacer es hacer esto más simétrico, entonces para eso voy a mover toda esta sección. Como que no está muy simétrico que digamos. Algo por ahí. Al final vamos a esculpir muchas de estas partes desde cero. O no desde cero, pero vamos a reesculpirlas. Entonces no tiene tanto sentido dedicarle tanto tiempo a que quede perfecto. Que esto es casi perfecto. I just need to move this a bit more. So, where are you from, AM Skid? What language do you prefer to be asked in? This channel seems to be in English. It's like a collaboration channel. I don't mind either English or Spanish. It's good. Um, um, I used to have like this streaming where back in the day, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I was doing like one streaming in Spanish and one streaming in English, like 1 week in English and the other week in Spanish. But since I always had like questions in both English and Spanish, it felt a bit weird just answering in English or in Spanish. So I decided to do the streaming in both languages. So whatever you feel comfortable, if it's English or Spanish, if it's another language, my knowledge is very basic of some other languages. Creo que esto lo voy a unir un poco más. So I'm not gonna merge again. Just don't want to invest a lot of time just getting this good because I was saying I'm gonna resculpt a lot of these parts, so no point on making everything perfect. Give me a second. ZBrush is the universal language. Yep, agree. Give me a second. There we go. Wrong screen. And I'm sorry, by the way, my name is pronounced Ames. Oh, perfect. Ames Kit. Perfect, perfect. Was gonna do something. Check something. Load my keyboard and there we go. So I'm gonna use Sculptress Pro to get rid of these artifacts everywhere, like right here. Como no necesitamos nada de esta geometría, I close the G, but currently I have a big gap underneath. So close holes, auto groups, so I get rid of like any floating polygroups like this one. Like it's barely visible, but if you zoom in, you can see like it's a floating geo that you might not be able to see unless you polygroup this and get rid of like the other polygroups, delete hidden. Y la idea es que este va a ser como mi mesh de referencia. Voy a duplicar este y voy a hacerle un remesh by Dynamesh. I'm gonna remesh by Dynamesh so I can get rid of like some of the geo that it's super weird. Ahí va. Le tomo un poquito de tiempo, pero ahí está. And it looks pretty much the same as the scanned geo, but you can see like the difference between the 976,000 polys against 3 million, and visibly you can't see any difference. But we have like this one that's clean, so now we can start removing some artifacts, like for example right here. Now I want to make this guy as a real creature, so I'm gonna get rid of like all this stuff inside the mouth, all this sculpture stuff. This is like an sculpture I scanned on my trip to Japan. It's supposed to be like a creature, a mix between a dragon and a fish. So it's an interesting creature. I'm going to start to paint a mask in everything that I don't actually want on the geo. Y la idea es que voy a empezar a pintar esta máscara. Voy a quitar el color. Podemos ver que tiene bastante detalle para hacer un scan de unas cuantas fotos. Algo así. Y la idea es que vamos a pintar todo lo que no queremos. En este caso, todo el interior de la boca. Un poco más, voy a seguir pintando aquí abajo. Tampoco lo queremos. Ni esto. Oh, the method I use, where you pull the cones. Oh, it's called Remesh by Dynamesh. Let me see. So for example, usually when you use Dynamesh, you tend to use like the Dynamesh tab on the right, on inside the geometry. You have your Dynamesh tab, and you decide the resolution. Resolution meaning how much, how many polygons do you have on your geo, and how heavy it is, plus how much detail it's gonna keep. But I don't find it that useful because it's a lot of trial and error, like saying like, oh, I'm gonna try 224 of resolution, and then you try and you see like maybe you lost a lot of detail, you go back, Control C, and then you go maybe a bit more, 488, and then you Dynamesh, and that's very slow, a very slow method of using Dynamesh. So I go to the gizmo and I select the gear right here on the top left corner, then remesh by Dynamesh, and this pretty much It's the same stuff as using the Dynamesh tab, but the good thing it's not actually dynameshing anything. It's more of a, it's like a simulation. It's like a pre-Dynamesh. So this cone activates projection, meaning it's gonna keep all the detail as long as it's possible with the resolution or the poly count that we're gonna have. And the white cone defines the poly count. So the smaller it is, the less polygon it's gonna have. So right now, for example, it's having like this tessellation on the corners. I tend to get rid of that by reducing the projection to 0. Then I go again to the gear, remesh by Dynamesh, and then again, for example, with a very small cone, this is the geo I'm getting. But I can pretty much just decide on the loop, like maybe add a bit more polygons, and then the result, the result it's pretty much real time, so it doesn't take a lot of time to calculate because it's doing like a previs. So right now the cone, it's the bigger I can get it. It's almost a million polygons, and you can see like I'm getting a lot of resolution. So once you are happy with the result, you just select the gear again and click on accept. And that's pretty much the way I do Dynamesh. I don't tend to go into the Dynamesh tab. I feel it is less exact, especially if you're trying to get like a very specific poly count. Going with the resolution, I find it a bit tedious. So gonna keep masking everything that I don't want to keep from these fish. And I think this is enough. So let me see if I have everything that I want masked. So I'm gonna create a new poly group. This one, oh, before I continue, I'm gonna save this because I haven't saved. And ZBrush tend to crash whenever I'm doing Dynamesh with heavy geo. So trim 136. There we go, saved. Hey, you're welcome, Ames. Didn't knew that. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. That's a very nice way of working without having like a very destructive workflow, because you can pretty much go back. Well, right now I did the Dynamesh with the star, but working with the fish, I can go back and maybe do another Dynamesh with less geo. So it's a nice way where I try to keep all the details, but at the same time I'm not trying to guess what the resolution I want to keep. So I'm gonna delete hidden and close holes again. Now it's looking super weird, but um, okay, screw up with this. I think I should keep at least this section, like a bridge. Or you know what, I'm gonna get rid of this, close holes, and I'm just gonna insert another geo right here, another sphere. This is the fun part where I start sculpting, so there's no point on trying to save everything. If I get rid of like the interior of the jaw, I'm just gonna move this. And again, since the purpose of this streaming is doing like a more realistic view on this creature using the statue as reference, I don't need to do everything from scratch. So I'm saving a lot of time with this. Is this live going to be posted? Yeah, it tends to be posted inside the YouTube channel of ZBrush. So if you go to the YouTube channel of ZBrush, you can see like all the streamings, all the saved streamings. As far as I know, every streaming it's saved. Hey, I have a question. How can I import ZBrushes that I downloaded? It's pretty easy. You have two ways. If you're just going to try a new brush, but you're not certain you want to keep it, just you can just go into your brush menu, like right here, and load brush. That's pretty straightforward. So load brush, you search for the brush you want to use, and that's pretty much it. But if you want to actually keep that brush on your either this menu or in your spotlight menu, meaning inside here, brush, for example, right now I have my custom menu here, and you can see that I have like a ton of different brushes that I have downloaded or bought. The way to do this is you go into whatever hard drive you have ZBrush installed. Let me see what's the order of this. So it's in my case it's gonna be C, program files, and it's Maxon ZBrush 2024 in this case for this version. And inside ZBrush, this is pretty much the same for every single ZBrush. You go inside ZBrush, you go to ZBrushes, and there you can load or paste whatever brushes you have. But if you want to have this option where whenever you open ZBrush, you have this brush loaded. Let's say you have this brush that you did and it's your favorite brush and you use it all the time. You have to go again C um, or whatever hard drive you are using for ZBrush, program files, Maxon ZBrush 2024 in this case for this again for this version of ZBrush, and you go to C startup. Inside C startup, you're gonna find again it's called brushes, I believe, brush presets. Check. Yep. So it's pretty much brush presets, and you can load there whatever brush you want to get whenever you start ZBrush. So it's like two different folders inside ZBrush, ZBrushes. You save every brush, and you can open that menu going to your spotlight, then brush up here, and this is all the brushes I have on that folder. Especially I have a custom folder, and there I have a ton of different new folders. So that's the way of loading new brushes into ZBrush. There's two ways, like a quick one and maybe like a lower one, but that's gonna save the brush whatever you want. Like it's a very specific way of saving the brushes. Um, hey, take care, Ames. Good luck in your class tomorrow or in 7 hours. Hey, Jacob. How do you put this skull thing in the corner? I usually have a low poly mannequin. Um, so for this one, I have like again a photo scan, like a photo scan, a photogrammetry geo of a scan. Sorry, here you go again. I have a a scanned skull geo that I downloaded, I think, from 3D Scan store. You can find a lot of these 3D skulls either in Sketchfab or TurboSquid or a lot of free sites. So you only need to download whatever geo you want to have here. For example, in this case, let's say I want to have this fish as my, I think it's called um, CamView. The name of this um, geo that shows the position of your geo, it's called CamView. So I can either use any model, like the star, or downloaded 3D scan from a skull or whatever. So go into Preferences, Cam View, and you select Make Cam View. This is gonna make a cam view from the geo that you currently have. So if I select this cam view, it's gonna be the fish in this position. This is gonna be facing front. This is gonna be facing from the sides. It's gonna be pretty much replacing the fish. I mean the skull for the fish right here. So that's the way to create any cam view. And you can either like load a lot of like cam views and have like a ton of different geos, like maybe a gizmo or different types of skulls, or maybe a human head, like a very detailed geo, or maybe just the muscle system of a head, or I mean, there's a ton of different options, and you can even turn off and on the cam view. So if you're not really a big fan of the cam view, you can turn it off, change the size. So there's a lot of options for this one. Yeah, you're welcome, Jacob. Hopefully I'm making sense of it. Ah, you're welcome, Osman. So, I currently have this as a two geos. So let me try to match a bit better the interior of the mouth. I use this as a reference for the position. And for example, for this, I'm gonna use Sculptris Pro and get rid of all this broken geo. And I'm not losing any details. Now, for example, right here, Jonas, I'm gonna fill this gap. This and oh, I want to get rid of like all this noise right here. So again, I'm gonna start removing the geo that I don't want to keep. They need to be perfect, just enough for me to get rid of like the artifacts in here. And I'm gonna select delete hidden, close holes, and there we go. I'm gonna use a mask so I can protect the rest of the fin. Yeah, you're welcome. Y la idea de esto es que eh, voy a ir removiendo todo lo que no me gusta, es decir, todo lo que no necesito. Por ejemplo, esta unión entre las aletas pues, no es tan necesaria. Incluso podré trabajar sin simetría, pero ahorita lo voy a mantener. Voy a quitar también una parte de esto. Delete hidden, close holes. It's a very rough way of removing geo, but it works. Especially for 3D scanning. Working with Sculptris Pro, it's super useful. Get rid of like this type of artifacts pretty easily. Now, let me see, I don't have anything floating around. Yep, we have some weird stuff going near the mouth, so delete hidden, and there we go. Try to make this a bit closer to a fin. For example, right here, I can get rid with some Sculptures Pro. We don't actually need to keep all those details, so same goes in here. And with these, I think this is almost enough for me to start sculpting. I just want to get rid of this section. I'm gonna use masking by Dynamesh. Oh, never mind, polygroup. By Dynamesh sub. Oops, shouldn't have. I think I clicked the wrong one. Group by normals, gonna make a mess. Oh, it didn't. So let me see, I can get rid of this interior of the mouth. Should have done this when I had like the mask, but since I don't have the mask anymore, do something like this. Actually, never mind. I'm gonna start separating everything into different different geo. For example, the different teeth. Um, hey, Tocayo Oscar, muchas gracias. Ah, te lo agradezco mucho. Ya tiene tiempo esa versión de la piedad que había hecho. Creo que lo hice durante el COVID. I can't hear anything. Still trying to fix the audio. Give me a second. Can you guys hear me well, or do you guys hear me super far, or everything is okay? Let me see. While we check the audio, use some. Oh, very clear. Oh, perfect. Thank you, guys. So I'm gonna use some spheres to start sculpting the teeth. Hey, ¿qué onda, Andrés? ¿Cómo estás? Saludos, tocayo. Thanks, Jacob. So, I'm gonna split the geo for the teeth. I'm going to try to match the position that I currently have on the sculpture. I might change this later, but right now I'm just trying to get the same vibe. I'm gonna get rid of like those details on the teeth, the sculpture ones. And it's pretty much just the move brush and a bit of smooth just to get the position right. For this one, I'm going to use a sphere. And the one right here. That way I can have everything as a different subtool and I can have a bit more control on the cheat. Let me change this. Just like this, and it's pretty much the same as I did before. Just doing a bit. There we go. So I think this is enough. I'm gonna start sculpting away those details. This I can actually use the Sculptris Pro. Oh, it's okay, Harsh. Thanks for the heads up anyway. And I'm going to start removing the teeth. Oh, by the way, guys, sorry about the camera. I'm having some issues with with my webcams, with my webcam, so I wasn't able to set it up tonight. I should get it fixed for my next streaming. Now this is a bit messy. Maybe I'll just create some mask to protect the lips, because I'm not trying to affect the shape of the mouth. Just getting some interior. Oh, neither the eyes, anything around here shouldn't be touched. Y la idea es que con esto pueda hacer algo así y tener como un interior de la boca. Can get rid of this teeth. Like this. It's super dirty, but should be working. Let's save this before I continue. Hey, servers. Jeez, I'm always having some issues with the names. Servers setting. Pretty much, I'm sure I said that in a horrible way, but hey, are you using Dynamesh right now? I was using Dynamesh. I'm gonna keep using Dynamesh, but currently I'm using Sculptris Pro just to get rid of like all these weird artifacts like this. Since I don't want to keep cleaning the geo and investing a lot of time on getting everything super protected, because at the end I'm gonna resculpt everything. So this is just pretty much like a base mesh. So I'm using Sculptris Pro to get rid of like all those lumps and stretched polys everywhere. Hey, Lamarck, ¿qué onda? Eh, Tengo esta aplicación en el móvil, es lo ideal para usarla. Sí. Ah, realmente, si quieres empezar a usarla, creo que empezaría con cosas muy simples. O sea, al final es como esculpir. O realmente es esculpir, solo que de forma digital. Mi recomendación sería empezar como cuando dibujas. Que cuando empiezas a dibujar, empiezas dibujando formas geométricas, sombreando, cosas como muy básicas. Yo trataría de hacer eso, trataría de hacer como figuras relativamente sencillas, rostros sin llegar a obviamente fotorrealismo, eh, ponerte como retos de esculpir quitando volúmenes o agregando volúmenes. Yo lo que haría sería buscar técnicas de escultura tradicional, ejercicios de escultura, y simplemente aplicarlos en la parte digital. La verdad es que este tipo de cosas, aunque es escultura tradicional, ayuda muchísimo porque en cierta forma son los mismos principios, solo cambian en algunas cosas, pero realmente el que tengas esta noción de cómo esculpir de forma tradicional te ayuda bastante. Ah, no, no, de qué, sí. Tenía o solía tener mis streamings una semana en español y una en inglés, pero sentía que era un poquito un caos, entonces ya quedan como un campechano de todo un poco. And I think I'm good with this. I'm gonna get rid of the eye also. So again, pretty much the same drill. I'm gonna insert a geo for the eye and split hidden. And then I'm going to get rid of like the geo from inside the eye. It could be like an eyelid, so I'm gonna make use of this. And the other part that I want to get rid of, but I want to save in a certain way, it's the front teeth. This, yep, split hidden. This one I'm not going to delete because I'm gonna use them as reference, but later on. Close holes, my reference. There we go. Now, it's looking dirty and it's like a mismatch of different geos, but right now what I'm going to do is remesh everything again, remesh by Dynamesh, and merge everything together, at least the full body, and then I can start sculpting like the real creature. All this was just to get rid of like some certain parts that I don't need or have more control over the geo. Right now I'm gonna start finally sculpting, so thanks for the patience with this. El tema es que no sé qué botones usar para qué cosas. Tipo, si pudieras hacer un tutorial para la próxima escultura. Sí, claro. O sea, al final, todas las herramientas son igual. Al menos todas las partes de esculpido son igual. La verdad no sabría exactamente ahorita decirte qué botones en dónde está cada uno, porque yo estoy en la computadora. Pero básicamente todas las herramientas tienen una versión alterna. Es decir, yo selecciono ahorita la brocha de Clay Buildup y si le pico en el modelo, sí, va a agregar geometría. Es como si le pusiera plastilina encima. Pero debe de haber una tecla con lo que, o un botón con el que hagas la versión inversa. Entonces, en lugar de agregar, lo que haces es quitar. Y pues realmente, honestamente, mis únicas herramientas casi siempre son este tipo de cosas. Agregar, quitar y la otra sería mover. A veces uso una que se llama Dam Standard. Esta es como si le pasaras un cuchillo, como una línea. Y la inversa, obviamente, saca una línea. Entonces, con Move, que es la que digo de mover, básicamente puedes hacer todo, ¿sabes? O sea, al final vas a tener muchísimas herramientas y muchas brochas que puedes utilizar, pero lo importante es pues que sepas que no necesitas como muchas brochas súper exageradas. Puedes llegar al mismo resultado sin requerir 20.000 brochas que hagan efectos súper locos. Creo que ese tipo de brochas, la de agregar, quitar, incluso suavizar un poco, ha ido también, mover, y la que te digo que hace como una marca, como de cuchillo. Esas tres son las que más ayudan para esculpir. Hey, Comics Legend, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. Will you be attending ZBrush Summit this year? Also, have you been testing out ZBrush for the iPad? Yeah, I'm not able to say anything at all. But about the ZBrush Summit, I'm not sure. I haven't seen any dates yet, as far as I know. I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to attend this year. I'm hoping I'll be able to attend, but I have a planned trip to Japan again next year. I mean, not next year, on October. So if it's in October again, it's gonna. I'm depending completely on the dates. I might not be able to attend, which is very sad. I really love attending this first summit, but then again, I haven't seen any dates or like any signs of like that there's gonna be a ZBrush summit. I'm hoping there's gonna be a ZBrush summit, but I haven't seen any news about that. So hopefully I'll be able to attend, but I'm not entirely certain this year. Fingers crossed. Ah, yo no consigo hacerlo fino. Yo te recomendaría hacerlo como al principio no muy fino, sino empezar como burdo y ir poco a poco agregando detalles. Me encantan los moais. Si algún momento puedes hacer uno, me encantaría. Me puedes hacer uno, me haría gracia. Moais. Deja de buscar, no sé bien qué sean. Moais, me suena. Ah, ok. Como las cabezas de la isla de Pascua. Sería un streaming interesante. Are you going to Japan? Will it be your first time? What areas do you recommend to visit? I plan to go next year to the Star Wars celebration. Oh, nice. It's gonna be my second time. Actually, this streaming, the photogrammetry I took, this one, it's from my first trip. So I went to Japan last year, and I'm planning to go on October, September, October, give or take. Those are mid 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 September, mid October. That's the date. But yeah, I mean everyone's gonna recommend Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, but I think that for a first time, I do recommend those cities. Like you get like the full spectrum of Japan with those cities, like all the new stuff from Tokyo, but also all the traditional stuff from Kyoto, the party and the crazy nights on Osaka. So it's pretty cool. Uh, I would recommend those three cities, and depending on your budget on time, maybe you can go to Hiroshima or Hokkaido, Hakone. The cool thing about Japan is that they have so many cool places that I mean, I went first time for like a week. Now I'm going half a month, and I still feel that it's not enough time. Oops, not sure what happened here. Let me fix that. So I'm gonna remesh by Dynamesh so I can have everything together. There we go, remeshing. Uno solo de Moais. Estaría buenísimo lo de los Moais. Creo que no he hecho nada semejante, entonces estaría interesante hacer como el cuerpo, no solo la cabeza, sino el cuerpo completo. No, mencionaba que fui el año pasado a Japón y que regresaré este año en septiembre y que justamente esta escultura koi, bueno, koi, del Saki Hoko creo que se llama, Shaki Hoko, no sé cómo se pronuncia. Es básicamente un scan 3D que tomé de una escultura ya. Entonces, siempre hay una oportunidad para escanear cosas y sacar modelos 3D de todas partes en todos los viajes. Now, with this merged, I can actually start sculpting the real creature. I want to go on a realistic look on the creature, so I'm gonna start. Before continuing, I'm gonna remesh by Dynamesh. Not, never mind, not remesh. I'm gonna do a Z-remesher just to have a bit more control on the geo. It's not mandatory, but I tend to do this just to get like a low poly mesh. I'm gonna activate my symmetry and zero mesh. What device or program do you use for photogrammetry? Um, I tend to use if it's gonna be like something quick, I used my camera from my phone. That's good enough to be honest. But if I really want to capture like something a bit more detailed, or I want to make sure that I keep all the details, I use like a reflex camera, like either a Canon or a Sony, whatever camera you have, you can get your hands on. And for software, I use Reality Capture. I used to pay that software because some years ago you had to pay to use Reality Capture. It wasn't a free software. But around a year or maybe 2 years ago, they were bought by Epic. So right now, sorry, if you have an Epic account, you can pretty much use Reality Capture for free. So it's pretty straightforward. You just add the pictures, create a geo, and then add textures. Um, I might be able to do a streaming next week on the process if you guys are interested in. It's pretty fun and it's pretty like straightforward. There isn't a lot of tweaking on any setting, so it's a nice way of capturing a lot of stuff on your trips, or even getting like a big library of assets, like maybe of terrain or stuff like interesting rocks or environments. For example, sometimes for my concept art, I don't use sorry, for my concept art, for my concept art, I use photogrammetry for the environments. Is measure. Muchas gracias, Lamarck. Igual que tengas una buena noche. Hey, you're welcome, comics. See, you're world. Trying to get a nice geo with zero measure. I think this one works. Yep. So I'm gonna subdivide a couple of times, and then I'm going to reproject everything from the previous geo. So I'm gonna store a morph target just in case I get some artifacts. I'm going to project. There we go. So, can now finally start sculpting my creature. I'm gonna start by working on the eyes. I'm gonna activate the geo that I have around here. going to start adding volumes. Wrinkles right here on the nose. Voy a marcar un poco esta sección. Bigger eye, so it makes a bit more sense for a creature. ¿Haces concept art? Sí, hago concept art a veces en... Lo que hago es los modelos en 3D, los hago pues, un poquito sucios, hago un render y luego hago un paintover encima del render. A veces el usar 3D para concept art ahorra muchísimo tiempo. No tienes que estar pensando en proporciones o en iluminación correcta. Al final puedes meter el modelo a Blender o a 3ds Max o Maya o a Keyshot. Sacas un render y ya tienes una iluminación bastante decente como para empezar a pintar encima. Y al ser 3D, pues te permite hacer varias iteraciones. Think I'm going to get rid of the spikes right now. Make them a bit more subtle. Y para el ojo voy a ponerle un material negro. Add a different material for the eye. So, plastic. UV fill object. De modo que usas las figuras en fondos para firmar paisajes virtuales o cómo. Lo hago más para personajes, entonces al final el personaje es el que le dedico un poco más de tiempo en la escultura y lo que son environments, sí. Puedo incluso utilizar un fondo, como dices, un fondo ya prehecho, algo que realmente no afecte la composición. Y realmente lo que hago al final es en Photoshop un Paintover que meta detalles. La boca también necesito trabajarla más. I'm gonna get rid of all these weird volumes around the lips. Oops. Hey, nautical success. So, I'm gonna get rid of all these volumes inside the mouth. Now it's a bit more clean compared to the previous mouth I had. And I want to have like these very thick looking lips. So it feels a bit more organic, less like a sculpture. like this. Was just giving more organic look to it. And the cool thing is we have the teeth as a different geo, so and start getting like this look on it. Y el chiste es darle como este volumen a los labios para que sea un poco más orgánico. Porque ahorita tiene como estos labios muy de escultura, muy hard surface. También las proporciones están muy raras, entonces voy a empezar a modificar esto. Ponerle un poco más de volumen aquí. Y voy a, por ejemplo, exagerar un poco más las fosas nasales. Let's see. Can actually move the nostrils a bit up. It doesn't. So we are not able to see the interior of the nostril. Y voy a marcar más la unión entre lo que es la boca y la nariz, para que se vean como dos geometrías separadas. I was listening in Spanish and you mentioned that you get to sculpt to a certain point and then you render and do paintovers. How much is it painted over? It depends completely. I do that especially for concept art. So for example, I might be able to share, let me see. Let's say you do extensive paintovers and then your art director wants revisions. Do you want to go back to the 3D sculpt and re-render and do new paintovers again? That's a good question. I tend to do, since I tend to do more 3D than 2D, I tend to rely more on the 3D model than on the paintover. The paintover, as I see it, is more um, just to get everything together. The environment or the background, the character, maybe some effects like fire, fog, stuff like that. Um, so let me do a quick um, let me share a bit my screen with this. So I think you can actually see my screen. So for example, this one is it's a good example. So this is like the final render. This is the Paintover. However, the model it's something like this. This is pretty much almost a model, a pretty straightforward render of the model. This was a very early take on the character. That's why I did like a different versions and paintovers. But if the client, let's say, wants to get like a mix between this one and this one, since I'm currently on a very rough state, I'm able to do more of a 3D sculpt, mixing the two of them, and then just painting over effects and like the saliva and stuff like that. So I tend to work more on the 3D side of the concept art than the 2D. My paintovers are not to change a lot of the character. They tend to be more of a corrective paintover, just to fix stuff on the renders and adding more of a look and feel to the image. However, if the client wants to make a big change on the character, then my take on it would be going back to the 3D model, redefining, resculpting everything, and then doing a new render, a new paint over. Maybe saving some of the stuff like the background, keeping the same camera view so I can like keep some stuff like the maybe the fog or some of the effects on the skin, stuff like that. But yeah, I tend to do the paint over just to add a bit more details, not to make like the characters super different from one another or to make a ton of variations on the characters. Hopefully, I made myself clear. Yeah, pretty much. I try to enhance the existing sculpt. I see it that way because I'm mostly a 3D artist. So for me, sculpting or using 3D meshes or 3D scans to get the result in a very quick way, for me, it's easier than painting everything from scratch. So if the client wants to get like a big change on the character, I wouldn't consider painting everything. I rather prefer doing everything on 3D, but that's because that's the way I tend to work. So either way works for everyone. I'm gonna get like a big lump here. Maybe some wrinkles. Haven't saved this, so I'm gonna save this just in case ZBrush dies and bails on me. But there we go. Yeah, you're welcome, comics. It's pretty fun, especially because you don't need to worry about topology and anything like that. I think I had an issue with my Wacom because I'm not getting any pressure. Let me see if restarting ZBrush will fix it. Give me a second, guys. Let me restart ZBrush because I'm not getting any input on the pressure of my Wacom. como que me salió un error con la Wacom, como que no estaba recibiendo nada de mi presión de la pluma. Ya quedó. Si les llega a pasar eso, traten de abrir ZBrush, de cerrar ZBrush y volverlo a abrir. Si no, pues básicamente reiniciar la compu a ver si eso lo arregla. Not sure what happened with the pressure, but it's back. Y let's get rid of the dynamic size. That. And I'm gonna try painting some eyes. See how it looks. Hey Joe, another cool sculpting, but this time not too scary. Yeah, I'm not going into the super creepy stuff tonight. Just to do a bit of a change with my streaming team. However, I'm doing some creatures, so I guess I'm still on certain line with the streamings. Let me see. The ears are looking weird. Ah, había olvidado activar los otros dientes. Vamos a ver, algo así. Now, these are the original set of teeth. However, they're not super realistic. So, I'm gonna try to make something a bit more um, grounded. Especially with the body. Let me see. I guess the belly should be bigger. I see. Been missing on missing out on your streaming. No more scary music too. I did some changes with the music tonight. I was trying some of the pretzel rock random music. So sometimes they give me like a lot of shitty music and very weird. So I tend to go with the scary one. That's most of the time. However, I felt since I'm not doing anything scary tonight, I was doing some changes also with the music. The inspiration for this. This started as a 3D scan I did from a sculpture in Japan. So this is the original photogrammetry of the sculpture. So my take is pretty much taking this, using this as a base mesh, and doing something that feels a bit more landed in um, a creature that can actually exist. So that's where I am at right now. It's been a lot of like cleaning the scan, so it's been a bit boring, especially at the beginning, getting rid of the interior of the mouth and separating the teeth and the eyes, stuff like that. But currently we're on the fun part, which is pretty much just sculpting. This is a Japanese creature called, and I'm certain I'm gonna say this the wrong way, but it's Sakihoko, Sachihoko maybe. It's a monster from Japanese folklore that it represents um, a fish with the head of a dragon, and they tend to place these sculptures on rooftops or entrances because they had this belief that they were like talismans, that they, if there was a fire, these creatures could spit a lot of water and pretty much protect the buildings from fires. So you see a lot of these monsters, if you want to name it that way, on buildings. So it's like a gargoyle, but a Japanese gargoyle in a different way. Vamos a ponerle un poco más de volumen aquí. Still not entirely sure about the eyes. But we'll see. Still trying to figure out the design of the creature. Hey, thanks. Last time I remember on your stream you made books. Am I right? I was working. I'm still working on a book, on a book of mine, that it's like a bestiary of different creatures from Latin American folklore. I haven't been able to finish it. It's like a side project, a personal project. But yeah, that's one of the many projects I tend to work and not finish. See, I'm gonna start adding some mouth interior so it makes the creature a bit more interesting. Hey, thank you, Yo. Please do share once you made it. Really eager to, really eager. What kind of story will you make? Thanks, we appreciate it. Hopefully next year. I'm trying to get like a deadline for certain personal projects, and although that one doesn't have a final deadline right now, I would like to have that one finished at least for next year. But it's like these curves with personal projects that whenever you are working on that one you start getting excited about a different one, and then you don't finish either one of those. They get sent into the never-ending WIP folder. I'm trying to get to work on that. Now I think I'm going to get rid of these guys, and instead I'm going to make the gums this, separate the top of the head. Um, do you plan on having your book on sale? Will you have 3D printing any of the characters in your book? Yeah, both. Uh, the idea is to eventually sell the book, and since the idea of the book is to have like all these illustrations and renderings of different creatures, they're pretty much gonna be all 3D models. So the point of it is to have at least some of them printed. Will it be in series? Uh, it depends. I really want to start by doing this about Mexican folklore creatures, like the usual ones like the Llorona and Chupacabras and stuff like that. But some of the not so common known creatures also. And I would love to, once I finish that one, start a different one with different creatures from Latin America, like from Peru, Argentina, Colombia. So I already have like a big list of these creatures. But yeah, first I need to finish the first one before thinking on the second one. But that's the idea. Now that I have the gums, I can actually move the other group, world, the teeth, more realistic position. I love creatures and story. Keep it up, Oscar. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Yo. Yeah, I'm really trying to work um on my issue of not finishing personal projects. But yeah. the idea is to have it finished at least next year. But thanks for the kind words. And I'm gonna change the position also of this one. And I'm gonna pretty much do the same for the gums on the bottom. By the way, will you make the creatures on your books using ZBrush and streaming? Yeah, some of them. I'm not sure if I'll be able to stream the workflow of all of them, but especially because I already have some of them, so I didn't stream the process of those. But yeah, I was thinking of maybe a couple of them, or maybe at least three of them, or two of them. I can actually stream the process. Because at the same time, it's always nice to have like all this feedback on the streaming, like especially with the creatures, like having all this feedback about maybe ideas on the design or colors, stuff like that that I get on the streamings. It's really useful. Change the position of also these ones. It will be nice to get a sneak peek. Yeah, and it's really welcomed all the feedback. So I'd be glad to share the process of the sculpting of the creatures with you guys. Be nice, and it's fun, right? Sculpting creatures is always fun to do. entirely sure about the ear, but I'm gonna make it a bit more pointy. Maybe facing out a bit more. Entonces con esto quiero que se vea un poquito más salida de las orejas. Al final si tiene orejas, pues que estén un poquito más separadas del cuerpo. If you drag an alpha mask, is there a way to place it keeping the proportions? Um, yeah, I think you mean something like this, where you get, for example, an alpha like this, you do this, and then you want to drag it like this. I'm not sure if this is what you meant, what you mean by keeping the proportions and dragging the alpha. But do let me know backroom if this is what you mean. It needs to be bigger. Oh, I see. So when you import an alpha from Photoshop, it messes up the proportions. Um, yeah, what I would recommend is exporting the alpha as a square picture. So if your picture it's like it has an aspect ratio like this, um, whenever it's imported inside ZBrush, ZBrush is gonna deform it so it's actually a perfect square. So I would recommend working with 1:1 aspect ratio, so pretty much a square. Hopefully that helps you. It is a square. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Could be maybe the focal shift, but I'm not sure. Sorry about that, backroom. I'm not entirely sure how to help you with that one. There is no way in ZBrush to place it keeping the proportions. Um, yeah, no, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I guess what you mean is whenever you add the alpha to the geo, it gets maybe a bit deformed, but I'm not entirely sure how to tackle that. Hey, buena flor, good day. I hope you're having a good day too. See, I'm gonna rotate this a bit more. It's a bit more interesting. Hacer la cola un poquito más grande también. Make it bigger with the tail. It deformed, but trying to get it bigger from every single part of the creature. Yeah, I want to keep like this teardrop shape. Con esto podría ajustarlo así. Hey Abdullah, how are you doing? Um, think I want to add some human looking teeth. Let me see. Before this, I'm gonna save this. Save as. A ver, algo así. Mm, que se vea como dientes de humano, que son los que tiene la escultura. Looking weird, but I'm digging the weirdness of this creature. Yeah, it's definitely looking very weird. Change the material to something different. To work with this, with the flow of the wrinkles right here. Same for this. Creo que podría hacerlo como más... un poquito más hard surface, como con las escamas. Y esta sección como que de las... It's interesting. Can really dig a bit more the almost black eyes. Change the position of the fin. And I think I'm going to make him a bit larger again. Es que poco a poco lo voy haciendo un poquito más largo y grande, pero tampoco quiero estirarlo demasiado. Okay, something like this, if it's not way too exaggerated. I don't think so. I think it's still believable. I lost all the scale details, but that's fine. Vamos a cambiar el material del ojo por algo que se ve un poquito más como ojo. A ver. Vamos con este. Corazón, no. Mm, No me encanta este ojo. Vamos a poner. Tengo como tres materiales diferentes de ojos. Object. I think this one fits a bit more. Yeah, I think it's decent enough. The fint's looking super weird. Let me see if I can actually fix it. Good thing is I actually saved a different. Let's see. Need to mask only the fin. Le quito occlusion. Yeah, I think it's better. Uh, Inflate a bit this section. Same for this, like the fingers. Not sure what. Just trying to make. I'm trying to make this a bit more. Um, I'm trying to make it mix a bit better with the rest of the sculpture. So I think I'm going to leave my streaming right here. Might just do a quick render inside Keyshot, just to have something different to show. Okay, yep. I'm gonna save this, and the cool thing about this is I saved a layer, so I can actually go back and forth between previous version and the original. Let me save this. I'm gonna subdivide a bit the teeth. And just like that. And I'm gonna export to Keyshot. Still not super sure about the eyes, but at least for now they work. So let me modify this material so it's a bit better. Actually have a material I did for my ZBrush sculptures where it actually pops the details a bit more. I still need to work on the tail part of the creature and some of the details. I really like the way some of the wrinkles right here work. However, I still need to invest a lot of time on the rest of the body. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it right here. Thanks to everyone who came by to this streaming. Hey Jair, good day. You're rendering Keyshot. Yep, I'm doing my final render inside Keyshot, at least final for now. Shall we continue? I should continue working on this creature on my next streaming. Yeah, yeah, just in time for the goodbye. um, so yeah, thank you guys. The idea is to continue this guy on my next streaming. Next, let me check the calendar. So it's gonna be next Tuesday. It's gonna be my streaming on my personal Twitch channel, and then the 13th I'm gonna be streaming again here on the ZBrush channel. So I'll continue with this guy on the 13th, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of details and wrinkles and stuff like that. So we did a lot of technical stuff today, especially with the 3D scanning. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hey, thank you, Joe. Nice to see you again. And yeah, stay safe, guys. If you have any questions or if you want to get in touch with me, you can pretty much send me a message through Instagram. I tend to be more active there. Yeah, see you in a week. Take care, guys. Voy a dejar el streaming hasta aquí. Y pues gracias a todos los que estuvieron aquí en el streaming. La idea es seguir el 13, si no me equivoco, de agosto. Porque el siguiente streaming, que es el 6, es en mi canal personal. Y entonces el 13 es en el canal aquí de ZBrush. Voy a estar ya agregando detalles de arrugas y definiendo más la forma de la criatura. Y pues nada, qué gusto verlos por acá. Y cualquier cosa me pueden contactar por Instagram, ahí es donde estoy más activo. Entonces, gracias a todos.